Have you ever tried to belt just like Cynthia Erivo, but maybe it sounds too airy or weak, or maybe it's just plain painful? If this is the case, you probably need to discover how to sing in your chest voice. Hi, my name is Lauren. I'm a singer, songwriter, and conductor, and today I'm going to talk about how to find and sing in your chest voice. In order to understand why we sometimes strain when we sing in our chest voice, we'll need to look into some anatomy. We'll need to crack open Anatomy of the Voice by Theodore Dimond, but before we do that, we need to talk about very specific anatomy terms. So this is the larynx. It is the passage between your lungs and your mouth, or vice versa. It also holds our vocal cords. And within or without the larynx exists a ton of muscles, and each muscle affects the form of singing. This is called the cricothyroid. It controls the tightening of the cords, which then influences the pitch. This is the sternohyoid. It moves the larynx down during actions such as speech or singing. Now let's get into this book. Quote, "The cricothyroid muscle raises the pitch by stretching the vocal folds. Activity of the cricothyroids, however, is associated with the constricting action of the throat muscles, so that untrained singers tend to tighten the larynx as they ascend in pitch. They also tend to raise the larynx because, as the pitch increases, the cricothyroids are at their maximal activity, and stretching of the vocal bands has to be aided by elevators of the larynx, which pull upward on the thyroid and tip it forward, stretching the cords. All of this activity is associated with tightening the throat, as can clearly be seen in untrained singers who reach for high notes by raising the larynx and tightening the entire neck and larynx in the process." So that explains why sometimes singing in our chest voice or belting can strain our voice. But now we need to understand how we can effectively sing in a way that utilizes our chest voice without the strain and the pain. Let's go back into Dimond and see what he has to say. "Trained singers, in contrast, are able to raise the pitch without elevating the larynx or tightening the throat. This is partly because they are more familiar with their falsetto, head voice register, and therefore do not force the chest voice activity into the falsetto range. They are also able to engage the extrinsic muscles that depress the larynx in order to actively counter the upward pull of the extrinsic muscles that elevate the larynx, in particular, the sternohyoid and the sternohyoid muscles." So if you haven't already, you should be sure to check out my video on singing in the head voice. You can find it up in this top corner all the way over here, as strengthening the head voice is essential in finding comfort within the chest voice. Now, depending on who you talk to, some teachers say that singing in your chest voice up high isn't good for your voice at all. However, if you're talking to me, I will tell you that you can take your chest voice high, and in some cases, it's necessary. However, you may face some thresholds where that's just not going to happen. I don't think I can belt a high C6. Can you? The people who say that singing in the chest voice is bad, they probably only study one form of singing, such as Western classical or operatic style of singing. If you look anywhere else in the world, you'll find that there are plenty of singers utilizing their chest voice in higher parts of the register. Fortunately, more and more Western classical voice teachers are finding the benefits of singing in our chest voice and increasing it into our upper register, so hopefully we'll see a continuous change. So by now you're probably very curious as to how to sing in the chest voice or how to strengthen the chest voice. But there's one more thing that I have to tell you before we begin, and it will be the reason for your success within the next part of this video. 1, you're not going to be able to belt high when you first start out. I've said before, the voice is a muscle, and we don't want to lift more weights than we can handle in a given day. So don't expect too much of yourself too soon. As a teacher once told me, we should play and sing to improve, not to impress. The second thing is that you also have to strengthen your head voice. My belt didn't increase its range until I had thoroughly practiced my head voice and felt very comfortable and confident there. And the last thing is, please be gentle with yourself. Nothing happens overnight, so don't beat yourself up if you can't sing the high belt at the end of Defying Gravity just yet. So most of us actually speak in our chest voice, and there's only really like a rare few people who maybe speak in their head voice. For the majority, we tend to speak in our chest voice. So we know we speak in our chest voice. How do we sing in our chest voice? First thing is that chest voice doesn't necessarily mean that we are yelling. A lot of people might assume that singing in our chest voice is the same as yelling. It's not. The other thing to understand is that we don't need to do more with our face and our pharynx when it comes to chest voice. You might see a lot of people going like that, and I did that in the thumbnail, right? So we don't need to do that. We don't need to widen. We don't need to tighten. We don't need to clench. We don't need to do anything that maybe will develop more tension in order to belt and sing in our chest voice. The other thing that we have to know before we start, I know I keep telling you we're going to start, and there's one more thing, I promise this is the last thing. We can't have a healthy tone and a healthy voice in whatever register we're singing unless we have breath support. So if you haven't learned how to sing with breath support, please check out this video up here in this corner. That is essential in order to find a really free, easy chest voice sound. Okay, so finally, let's do some exercises. Remember, we don't have to think of chest voice as being heavy. A lot of pedagogues will talk about how the chest voice has heavy vibration of the vocal cords, right? If you look at the difference between a head voice vocal cord vibration and a chest voice vocal cord vibration, they are a little bit different, but we can't think that we're pushing our cords together even more when we're singing in our chest voice. Because if we do that, we're just adding unnecessary tension. You're going to cause strain. It's going to hurt. You're going to tire yourself out. Don't do that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to kind of find where our chest voice is. For masculine singers, people with lower voices, understand that you are probably mostly going to be singing in your chest voice. That is pretty common for lower voices across all styles of singing. So you might not need this lesson, but you never know, there could be something here that's useful for you. This is mostly for my upper singers, so my altos and sopranos, contraltos, right? We're going to find our chest voice, and we're going to try doing some techniques that can help expand our chest voice. Okay, so we're going to start kind of low today. We're going to start at a G. I'm a soprano, so my low notes aren't the cream of the crop when it comes to all of the notes I can sing. So, but if you're an alto, then you're lucky. We're starting at the cream of the crop for you. So we're just going to go, hey. You might feel really good resonance here, right? If you don't know what resonance is, click on this video. There's a lot of kind of prerequisites to this video, so please check all of them out before you come through this video. You might feel that focus and resonance buzz in the mask. That's perfect for chest voice, okay? We want to kind of think of everything as being above the tongue or above the top teeth, even if it has to do with our chest voice, which are notes that tend to resonate in our lower parts of our body, right? So, hey, right? Making sure the throat is free and open, right? We're not talking about like where you swallow should be open. We're talking about where you breathe should be open, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do a couple of these. We're going to work up our register, and then we're going to work back down. Okay, so hey, hey, hey. Now check the pharynx, right? Are you tightening your lips? Are you widening your mouth? You don't need to do that. Keep it neutral. Keep it relaxed. Hey. If you feel like it's going to crack a little bit, that's okay. Just let it crack. Just let it crack for now, okay? I'm going to keep going though. Hey. 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 My voice wanted to crack right there. So that might be common for you, especially if you are new to chest voice, okay, or you spend a lot more time in your head voice. You might crack right there, and that's okay. We're going to try it again, though. If you feel like it's going to crack, don't hold on to anything, okay? Just check in with the support. Are you supported? Are you tightening anything? If not, then we might be able to continue. Let's try it. Ready, and hey. Put it in the mask. Hey. 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 Okay, how's it feeling? Let me know. Okay, don't beat yourself up if your voice keeps cracking. You might just need to spend more time with your support. That's going to help a lot when it comes to belting. Okay, we can't belt without good breath support. Let's kind of play with this focus resonance space in our chest voice. We did this exercise when I talked about the focus and resonance video and trying to find that. Okay, we're going to stay kind of low and really make sure we just kind of get the feeling of being in our chest voice. Okay, it should feel brassy. Yeah. Should feel brassy, but it shouldn't feel painful. You shouldn't have a wind burn. You shouldn't have any other feeling other than vibration, essentially. So let's do nya, 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 trying to keep it in our chest voice, right? Super forward. We're going to distort the sound a little bit, okay? It's just for the purpose of this exercise. Okay, try and keep, you can lift your upper lip and scrunch your nose, but don't widen this way with your mouth, okay? And don't tighten your lips, because if we're doing that, we're tightening the jaw, which tightens the tongue, which tightens the larynx. So we want to make sure that all of this is free. Okay, we can activate a bunch of stuff from the top teeth up, okay, but we don't want to activate anything down here. Okay, ready, and nya, 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 nya. 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 Good. So if you're getting kind of like a tickle in the throat or anything like that, let's just make sure that we add a little bit more air through the chords, because we just might be pushing our chords together a little bit too much. Okay, so try a little bit of a nya, 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 nya if you are having that tickle in your throat. And if you're not having a tickle in your throat, then don't worry about it. Everything's great. Okay, let's move on. Ready, and nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Open it here. Nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Let it crack. Nya, 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 nya. Okay, so it should feel super buzzy, very forward, but you shouldn't feel anything here other than openness and freedom. All right, let's do one more exercise to kind of find our chest voice and sing in it as best we can. All right, any other questions that you might have, you feel free to leave them down below. I try and answer most of them. So this next one, we're gonna go boy, oi, 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 oi. Okay, the more open we are, the harder it is to kind of keep our resonance space and our resonance focus. So try and find that buzz as much as you can. It's not going to feel the same as the nya nya. We have to at least imagine that it's there when we do this exercise, right? So focus here, openness here. And the other important thing is to make sure that our Ys are not going to be produced by our jaws. We're not going boy, yoy, 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 right? We're not chewing. It's all the tongue, right? So if you can keep the jaw still, boy, yoy, 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 right? That's kind of how we want to approach this. Okay, ready, and boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. So as you go higher, you might feel this resonance space kind of move from here, and it goes up, and that's normal. That's just like the frequency at which the pitch is resonating. That's where it wants to be. Okay, so don't try and keep it below the chin or below the top teeth. Let the focus move. Okay, let's keep going. See how far we can go. Ready, and boy, yoy, 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 yoy. Boy, yoy, 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 yoy. So I want to switch into my mixed because I prefer singing in my mixed up here, and that's okay. But see if you can keep that brassy feeling. Nice, and should feel kind of nasally, okay? And that's okay. We don't actually want to sound like this, but we do want to kind of think of it being that forward, right? Singing in the mask. Let's try it again. Ready, and boy, yoy, 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 yoy. 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 Okay, so you should not feel any tension here, any pinching here. This should be open, okay? And maybe you didn't reach as high as I did today for the belt, and that's okay, right? Give yourself some time. I've been singing and in lessons since I was 12. So I've had a lot of practice with both the head register, the chest register. Okay, so don't panic if you're not getting it quite right away. Just kind of stick to where you're comfortable, finding the freedom of the chest voice in the comfortable part of your range before we stretch it up higher into the belt part of our range. That's it for today's video. Stick around for next week when I'll be talking about mixed voice. See you then.